Install OS X on your Hackintosh. The process this time around is surprisingly simple, but I'll still walk you through the process step by step. Earlier I told you to download iBoot from Tony Mac. If you haven't already, unzip iboot.zip and extract iboot.iso. Now it's time to burn the file to a CD or DVD. It's actually just a small bootloader, so a CD will work just fine. In Windows, insert a blank disk, right-click iboot.iso, and click Burn Disk Image. Select your disk burner in the next Windows prompt and hit Burn. On OS X, insert a blank disk, right-click iboot.iso, and click Burn iboot.iso to disk. Burning the disk shouldn't take more than a minute or so, and iBoot should be ready to go. Now that you've got the iBoot disk ready, it's time to turn on your soon-to-be Hackintosh and adjust the BIOS so your computer's OS X friendly. So make sure you've plugged in a keyboard, monitor, and power, and fire it up. When you get to the first boot screen, press the delete key to open up your BIOS. Once inside, you'll need to make a few adjustments. On the first BIOS screen, arrow down to the entry labeled Storage Configuration. Hit Enter and change Configure SATA as to AHCI. Press Escape once. Next, arrow over to the Advanced tab, then arrow down to the section labeled Onboard Devices Configuration. Hit Enter, find the Marvel 9123 SATA controller entry, and set it to AHCI. Press Escape. Now arrow over to the Power section and set Suspend Mode to S3 only. Finally, arrow over to the Boot tab, hit Enter on Boot Device Priority, and set your first boot device to boot from your DVD drive. Then set your second boot device as your primary hard drive. Hit F10 to save your changes and exit the BIOS. Boot into the Snow Leopard install DVD. Assuming you set everything correct in your BIOS, iBoot should boot into this screen. When you get to this screen, eject your iBoot disk, insert the Snow Leopard install DVD, and press F5 on your keyboard. In a few seconds, the iBoot disk in the center should be replaced by a new disk labeled Mac OS X Install DVD. Once it does, hit Enter, and your computer will boot into the Snow Leopard installation wizard. After a minute or two of loading up, you should be looking at the Snow Leopard installation wizard. Select your language and continue. Before we get started with the installation, however, you'll need to format your hard drive so you can install OS X. From the File menu at the top of the screen, select Utilities, Disk Utility. Once Disk Utility loads, click on your hard drive in the sidebar and select the tab labeled Partition. Set the volume scheme drop-down to one partition, unless you have a reason for wanting otherwise. Name the volume whatever you want, and set the format to Mac OS Extended Journaled. Now click the Options button and ensure that GUID partition table is selected as the partition scheme. Now that everything's set, hit Apply. When you're prompted for confirmation, click Partition. In 20 seconds or so, your drive should be formatted and you'll be ready to install OS X. Quit Disk Utility and continue with the installer. The installation process from here is completely straightforward, so just follow along with the default settings. This time will vary. It always claims to take 30 plus minutes, but it's normally done in 10 or 20. When the installation finishes, you'll most likely see this Install Failed screen. Don't panic. This is all part of the process. Just click Restart, put iBoot back in the drive, and this time when your computer restarts, iBoot's Chameleon bootloader will give you the option to boot into your new installation. Select it with the arrow key and hit Enter. Start. The first time OS X loads, you'll see Snow Leopard's fancy welcome video. Once that's done, OS X will walk you through the setup wizard, during which you'll enter your username, location, and so on. Just follow along. Once you're finished with the setup, you're finally at your new Hackintosh desktop. Since you probably want to use the most up-to-date release of Snow Leopard, you'll want to update your Hackintosh before adding the finishing touches. Currently, Snow Leopard 10.6.4 is the newest release, so we want to update to that before we proceed. Plug in the thumb drive that you put the update combo installer on earlier, and double-click the DMG file for the update combo and run the installer. When the combo update finishes, you'll be prompted to reboot. multi-beast package. Now it's time to open the multi-beast download that we grabbed before and should be on your thumb drive. This tool will allow you to boot from your hard drive going forward, so you don't need to use the iBoot disk every time you want to boot up OS X. On the Install Multi-Beast screen, tick the checkboxes next to Easy Beast and System Utilities, then click Continue. When the Easy Beast installation completes, eject the iBoot disk and restart your computer. Once you've rebooted, you've got one more step to go. It's to Extra folder, manually add sound and Ethernet kexts using Kext Utility. Now it's time to use those other files you downloaded earlier. So jump into the folder named Post Install and open the folder named Extra Extensions. In a separate Finder window, navigate to the Extra Extensions folder on the root of your drive. In Finder, you can just type Command-Shift-G, type extra/extensions, and press Enter. Now drag all the files from your thumb drive's extensions folder into your hard drive's extensions folder. Enter your password when prompted, and let Finder replace any files that already exist. Finally, navigate back to the post-install folder on your thumb drive. Inside, you'll see 3 files, an app named Kext Utility and 2 Kext files named voodoohda.kext and realtek r1000sl.kext. Drag and drop realtek r1000sl.kext onto Kext Utility, enter your password when prompted, and you'll see a window like this. Once it says done, you can quit Kext Utility, and then this time drag and drop voodoohda.kext onto Kext Utility. Basically, this installs custom audio and Ethernet extensions to your system so they'd work as you'd expect. Step 8. Restart and enjoy. Now that you've updated your computer and installed a few extensions customized to your hardware, you're ready to restart your computer, boot directly from your hard drive, and enjoy your new Hackintosh. Congratulations!